So, we've had classic fashion from Timby, classic cars, thanks Chad, and we've seen classic hairstyles. And you, Michael? Classic.
The classic range from Clover. Timeless taste.
Made with love by Clover.
Cocoa powder is not only an ingredient intended for sweet dishes, it adds a rich flavor to our delicious pork ribs. And everyone knows that pork is best paired with any type of potatoes. So today, ours will be paired with crispy potato wedges that will be drenched in a classic garlic herb sauce. Dumi, tell me more, girl.
Before I tell you more, Bali, maybe let's just get the ribs out for Chef so he can start with that. But in essence, what we're going to be doing here is no dish is complete without that delicious starch, whether it is a rice, whether it's a potato. In this instance, we're using your favorite girl, a mazambane. And all we're going to be doing is we're going to be roasting them nicely, starting with the parboil, roasting them beautifully, making sure while they're still warm, they take in the flavors of our fat spread that we're going to be using and the garlic and the thyme. So I'm going to get started with that, cutting up my potatoes into wedges, parboiling them, and then get the roasting started. Chef, you are on Cocoa Station, and you're going to be doing the pork rub for us. Do you want to just run us through all of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I got some pork rib in here. Lovely bit of pork rib here. I've got the full actual belly of the rib here. And in terms of ingredients, you got salt and pepper, sugar, chili, and then your cocoa. And literally what I'm going to do is just take all of these and just pop it into here. I'm going to do half and half so I can get an equal layering on either side.
Beautiful. And is that essentially why you're using the brown sugar? Because that cocoa, as you have mentioned, at the end of the day, it is a savoury dish. So that sugar is going to be able to add the sweetness to the pork.
A little bit of sweetness, but more importantly, what it's going to do is going to start to caramelize and get this lovely dark colour to the actual meat itself. So that's what the sugar's really enhancing there. Remember, pork. Pork is a sweet meat. Remember from the famous movie? Yeah? That's exactly what it is. So it likes a little bit of sweetness, but all that lovely fat you want to caramelize, render down, and get that wonderful, unctuous flavour that comes through from pork.
I love the fact, Chatumi, that we're seeing sugar play so many different roles in our meats and in our different recipes. And I think so many times a lot of people don't play with different ingredients enough.
Exactly, Palis. And this is why every time, I'm not sure if you've noticed, whenever we're making a stew here or making something like that, I always like to add a bit of sugar because it's always about the balance. Like Chef has done here, we've added the cocoa powder, which adds that bitter taste to it, which is not really bitter. Once you cook it down, you'll see. It's got the bitter taste, you've got the salt, you've got the sweet. So in essence, it touches all those flavonoids on your tongue, where you've got the different senses, the salty, the sweet, the sour, all of that.
Yeah.
And that's basically how this is going to turn out when we enjoy it later with our potatoes.
Love that. Chef, you are going to work.
Oh, absolutely. I want to get that flavour in there, so I really wanted to sort of stick. Remember, fat has lots of oil already, so I don't want to keep, basting more oil. I mean, you can if you really want to, but really getting this rub into that meat so it really sticks beautifully, and you can see how beautiful this coating of that cocoa powder is there. And all we need to do is transfer that into your roasting dish. The last little bit here, I'm just going to sort of sprinkle over the top. Let's not waste any of that flavour. And how gorgeous does that look? That we're going to pop into the oven and roast it away at 180 degrees or so. You can go a little bit higher if you want, and just get that golden and unctuous.
I love that. And on my side, I'm making that delicious garlic and herb sauce that's going to be drenched in the beautiful potatoes that Dumi is making. But let's not forget here, Dumi is taking a huge scoop of that beautiful Clover classic fat spread. Now, what I love about this spread, Dumi, it's good for baking, it's good for cooking, basically all different types of recipes.
Yes, Palisa. Very versatile, because most times when we look at our Clover classic fat spread, you think that it'll only work on a slice of bread. No, it's very versatile. It's very versatile. Like what we're doing now is we're making sure we're enhancing the flavors of our potatoes by rolling them in that beautiful flavor of the fat spread. So all we're going to do now is, once it's melted, I'm going to put them over our potatoes that we've already parboiled here. You don't even need to parboil them for too long, because the whole idea is just to make them cooked halfway, because we're going into the oven to make sure they absorb more of this flavor. I'm melting a bit more here, Pali, because I'm going to mix it into that mixture you've got over there as well.
Yeah.
So this is the first batch. This goes into the oven. It's going to get nicely toasted and roasted. And then I'm going to add the finishing touches, which is that garlic and thyme, which is basically just takes it to a whole other level. Chef, thank you so much for the ribs. What do you want to... Is there something that people get wrong when it comes to getting ribs and cooking them to that nice tenderness?
Well, I mean, you know, you got to think of it. I mean, if you put it straight onto your braai or to a griddle pan or something like that there, you got to be very careful because those little bits, I mean, if you look at my hand, it's all covered in that cocoa. This can burn and become very, very bitter. So be careful on that. Sometimes actually in an oven, it's a little bit more gentler, but just allow it to cook. Remember, you've got it's part of the, you know, the belly. There's lots of collagen and, you know, sort of sinew and stuff. You want to break that down. So actually in the oven for a nice length of time to really break down all that fat, all that collagen, so it is lovely and tender and succulent.
To get this recipe, please do head over to afternoonexpress.co.za. Now on social media, we are keeping the celebrations going. Since it was #World Chocolate Day yesterday, please do tell us, what is your favorite chocolate? Use that hashtag Afternoon Express in all of your comments. Please do flood our social media pages because we just love to hear from you. We're elevating the taste experience though when we return as we show you an irresistible chicken with chocolate barbecue sauce recipe.